Hi, my name is Sakina Harris. This is an informative video for my public speaking course in spring 2025. Have you ever seen Little Women? No, not the reality TV show, the movie, or even read the book. I've seen all the adaptations of this movie and read the book twice. In this video, I'll explain how I relate to each of the four main characters in their internal and external relationships with other characters throughout the story. So Little Women takes place in Massachusetts in the early 1800s. This story follows the March family and their four daughters, Jo, Amy, Beth, Meg. That's not in order, by the way. This family is not the best well off, not the best financially, and their father's gone to fight in the war. So it's just the four sisters, their mother, and their handmaiden. Okay, so first I'm going to explain the characters of the four March sisters who we're going to be focusing on. First, we have the firstborn, Meg. She's described as nurturing, caring. She wants to fall in love and live a simple life with kids and her husband. She's also very responsible and wants to, just live a simple life and enjoy herself. The second-born, Jo, who I feel like I relate to the most, is very passionate, aloof. Sometimes she can be temperamental, but that's okay. Everybody has their days. And she wants to live a life of adventure. The third-born, Beth, is a very shy girl. She's scared of boys. She wants to stay young, and she never wants to grow old, and she likes being with her family. She avoids conflict, and she's just a very kind girl all around. Now the youngest child, Amy, who's 12 at the beginning of the book and the movies, she's more, as we see her grow through the show in the movie, we see her become more this pragmatic, intelligent, more cunning type of woman who also has passions of her own, but also realizes that you cannot live on passion, and sometimes passion doesn't make money, especially for women at the times. So she also realizes that she needs to marry well and become very self-independent. How I relate to these characters. Meg and me, the oldest, well, first, we both share the birth order. I'm also the oldest of 7 grandchildren, and we just want to enjoy the simple things. If money wasn't a thing, I'd also want to just go live in the woods and fall in love with a man, and we just live our simple life and enjoy that until our days end. And for Jo, we both share the passion of writing. I love to write and create stories just as much as she does, and we're both very passionate about that, and sometimes we let our passion take over and control our temper. Beth, me and her, for the moment, I'm very comfortable where I am, and honestly, I don't want much to change, and I'm very afraid of the future and getting older. And we also like to avoid conflict. That's something me and her have in common. Amy, the youngest one, she is who I see myself becoming as I'm older. She starts to choose her career and her stability over her passion, which in the end she does get to do both, but she realizes that everybody cannot live the magical lifestyle that they want to live, and everybody cannot just do whatever they want and live a life of adventure. And she's very realistic, and she very takes in the world that's around her, and I think that me and her share that alike. Jo and Amy are most like my brother and I, because throughout the story we see them combat and argue and fight, even physically fight, as siblings do. And they even end up falling for the same guy, but in the end they realize that family is the #1 important thing to them, and they come together and they still love each other and they still interact with each other, which is how me and my brother are. We argue all the time, we fight all the time, but in the end we know that I got him and he got me. And so that's how they relate to me and my brother, and it really shows the realness of a sibling relationship. Okay, lastly, I want to talk about the external relationships outside of the sister group dynamic, and the main character that is besides them is the character Lori. So Lori lives next door. He moves in. He's an orphan. His parents are dead, and he moves in with his grandfather. Jo is the first to notice him outside her window, and she notices that he looks very alone and he's very bored because he has no one his age to be around. And so her and the girls, they go over and they welcome him over, they meet each other, and they kind of like welcome him in as a friend of the family, and they start to play stories with him. Jo starts to read her stories, they do plays together, and he has his own separate relationships with each of the different sisters. And I think this really relates to me because I also have my own Lori that I have in my life, because my next door neighbor, who I've been friends with going on 6 years now, he showed up one day. He has no other siblings, and ever since then he's just been a friend of the family, and we become best friends. And so that is how I relate to each of the characters, the main characters in the Little Women series. And honestly, I would recommend it. It's a good 8 out of 10 watch. You should go watch it, especially the 2019 version.